Hello and welcome to another episode of Sustainability Sparks, a fireside chat series with green innovators brought to you by Green Phoenix Circular Solutions. I am your host, Vidhi, who will be taking you on an exciting journey for sustainability to ignite it and leave a lasting impact on the planet and the people. Today, for our episode, we have an audacious young man from a small village in Maharashtra, one who rose up against all odds to build the world's first sanitary napkin recycling center. Coined as the Padman of 2023 by Aman Gupta on Shark Tank India Season 2, we are proud to have with us Mr. Ajinkya Dhariya, founder and CEO, PadCare Labs, an organization that has been established with a vision to empower the grassroots waste workers of India, enable the high standards of hygiene for our women, and save the planet from the disaster of period plastic. Welcome to our fireside chat, Ajinkya. We are super excited to have you here with us.
Thank you, Vidya, for the inviting. I'm really excited to just share my journey.
Thank you so much. Um, so, before we go on to what work you're doing at PadCare, we are very curious to know about your story, about what was your experience or what was your inspiration to start this organization.
Yeah. So, basically, I'm coming from one of the small coastal village in Maharashtra, and from the Raigad district, right? My basic education from till the 10th standard happened there. So, but during my in early age, right? Most of the time, I always was that guy who always want to do the experiments, want to break the things, right? That kind of that curiosity always drives me. And because of that, because of my parents, I got a nurturing the same way to ask a different question, right? How the system works, how the process works. And with that, I still remember the day where I was, I think, 7th to 8th standard, and I watched like the sanitary napkins ad, right, on the TV, and where the blood was shown on the blue. And I asked my mom, is generally females have the blood blue and the men has a like kind of a red blood, red red blood versus blue blood. Like that, a small curiosity, but my parents always nurture me to ask a right question, and they always never ignore my particular questions. So because of that curiosity, and my mom is working in the woman empowerment segment, right? I always watched her to how she's handling the women-centered challenges in empathetic way. So because of this small observation, I was very clear. I want to do something by the society by technological means.
Mhm.
So with that kind of the initial nurturement from my parents, that is something the curiosity. I was very clear. I want to pursue the entrepreneurship or specifically social entrepreneurship that can change the world.
Okay.
While saying that, I pursued my 11th 12th from Mumbai, then went into the mechanical engineering program. But मेरी attendance just हमेशा 20 या 30% रहती थी, उससे ज्यादा नहीं रहती थी, because I always enjoy my practical sessions rather than theoretical sessions, right? And during my engineering program, I was started working on different projects. I have developed vehicles. I have worked in the energy segment. I have filed a few research papers, filed few patents because that curiosity was there, right?
Okay.
And with that particular, again, that curiosity aspect, right? I started working on different projects in waste management domain, in water conservation domain, in energy segment domain. It was kind of parallel because when we, in the early age, we have that kind of full of energy, right? You can spend your entire day and night just to achieve something. And because and I was working that time for one of the organization as a R&D scientist. I was working on the some spacecraft related work, like along with ISRO. So daytime in the it is in early 2017. I was working daytime for the whole organization. At night, I started giving time to my own dreams. So that passion that was there, right? कुछ तो करना है, right? मुझे job नहीं करना है, मुझे कुछ तो करना है. And that is this is a I think there is no good time, perfect time to start a business or to explore new stuff, right? And that time I just thought, yes, this is something, let me just start on a different work. And probably it was the right time, the synergy between the time, right time, probably luck, where government of India was looking for a similar solution. And there was actual need to solve menstrual hygiene management problem. And that's why I thought, let me just take that leap of faith to start this business in 2018. And this is something how I started, and my early days were looking like, right? And I started PadCare Labs.
Okay. I think the inspiration, I guess, came from your family itself. It's safe to say that. And I'm very happy to hear that you were brought up in an environment where you were able to ask the right kind of questions. Because, as you know, this topic is still considered very taboo, even in the main metropolitan cities. Like, growing up, a lot of us girls have also faced those issues where, like, we are not able to openly talk about menstruation or any issues related with it, or anyways how the development of a woman's body takes place, because this is something which we also learned in spite of living in metropolitan cities from schools, where actually this education should ideally be coming from parents, but many of us have experienced that, okay, this communication was not coming from parents and we got to know about it from school. And then so on, when we started experiencing it, is how it so it's I'm very happy to hear that you were able to have those conversations with your parents, and I'm sure that is where that spark of inspiration was ignited for the first time. If you could tell us in short about when you started out doing your research work until today, how has your journey been? What have been those um, moments where that kept you driven to continue doing the work in this space?
So this is a very interesting question, right? It's been right on this 10th of July where we complete 5 years of at PadCare, like approximately uh, more than 1,800 days, right? Day and nights we have spent, right, is with a community of more than 50 plus people. If I look back to this 5 years journey, yes, definitely there was always a different set of accelerated learnings were there, right? Depending on the challenges that what we faced. Uh, but while looking back, one few things were common, right? That was hunger was there, the sense of ownership was there. That kind of because there was hunger, there was a sense of ownership, and that continuous recognition and appreciation from the ecosystem on the work that what we guys doing. It is very important. So when I started PadCare Labs, I'm the guy who always believe into incremental innovation. I don't want to just develop some very fancy thing and just wait up to that at particular achieve 100% efficiency of the system. I am the guy who will always, if that is 80% reach, I always want to execute on the ground and take actual feedback from the customer community.
Mhm.
Because that incremental innovation approach, we had very accelerated learnings and the iteration cycles. Initial, like frankly, I started PadCare just labs for just for 3 months, right? It was just for, I thought I will just take a 3 months kind of risk. I will try it out, test it out, but I don't know where from this 3 months to approximately 60 months got converted, right? Like how we went from that 3 months, one idea to 60 months. And in that entire cycle, right? Uh, it is not about probably initial 3 months. I have that kind of trigger. I took that trigger, the first step, but I'm here due to my team, right? And I'm here due to my the believers from the ecosystem who believe not yes initial days to Ajinkya and the belief into the this particular problem. There is a problem that need to solve, and there is urgency as well. That is a very important aspect. Uh, so when I look back, the things that my experience and things that work for me is that kind of hungerness, sense of ownership, that continuous iterative learning cycle that I had. The team is something what I always look for because I'm here due to them, and the recognition and appreciation from the ecosystem. Because that every step, if we get a small appreciation, it's not about what award or certificate or the money that what you're getting into the account. It is not like that. It is more about, yes, there is someone who is who is aligning with our problem that what we are solving, and there is a belief, right? There is support, there is the external validation,
Mm.
right? And this kind of steps are very important, right? In the development of any kind of venture.
Yeah.
Yeah, in nutshell, these few things that work well for the PadCare Labs. And yeah, for me, like if you look, I'm the steel guy who always want to do the on ground in terms of execution and solve the matter, because we are the builders of the nation. Right? We are the creators, we are the builders. We want to change the world, and that adaptability as well. These are a very uh, uh, underappreciated skills, right? Adaptability and all, because generally what happens, like if we are not adapting to the scenario and challenges, right, then things are going to get more stubborn and definitely chances of failures are more. So as an entrepreneur, I always want to adaptable. I was open to take a corrective feedback. I was open to just face the failures and accept it and learn and execute on the ground, right? Uh, and so yeah, these are the few things that worked well for me in last 4 to 5 years to developing these organizations.
That is that's a very extraordinary journey that you've taken. Like, as you just mentioned, that you were looking only at 3 months, and then now you've had your journey of 6 months, and looking towards a longer journey of, like, improving and growing more and more in this space. I'm sure there must have been their own set of challenges also involved
Yeah.
when you must have taken this journey. And if you could share with us two things. One, of course, some of the toughest challenges that you faced when, you started out till today, whatever you've experienced, and how you managed to overcome them. And second, how was the response of your peers when they came to know that, you are looking to work and start off in this space? Were they open to it, or were they a little awkward or uncomfortable, that okay, what is a man doing in this space, because of the general mindset that is there? If you could let us know.
Yeah. So let me just ask the answer the second question first, right? When I started PadCare Lab, I was doing amazing, good work at my previous organization. Stability was there, exciting work was there, right?
Mm.
And then suddenly I just like being frankly cut off from my own network for more than I think not 6 months, more than 12 to 24 months, right? Approximately more than 1 year.
Okay.
Because what? Because I always believe to work in the silent, right? Automatically, your outcome can indirectly, if it things work out, then automatically it can create a small noise. So I was in kind of working in hidden, right? I never told my friends I'm doing and starting something. Apart from me, a few family members as well, right? And the day when I spoke to my parents, I'm leaving my previous job to start something this, I was crying and my family was happy. Yes, this is बच्चा भी तो कुछ तो कर रहा है जिसके लिए वो बनाया गया है, right? अब तो so that was a sense of happiness from their end, but yes, I was a little bit skeptical like how things work, because that cushioning was there, right, initially, to move out from your comfort zone, work on something where there is a taboo, there are certain kind of reservations are there. It was a tough because you I don't want to just answer my society to the society. I want to do this, do this, do this, and no, this is something and all. I don't want to take any kind of risk. I just cut off all my routes to going back option. Like I was very clear. I don't want to go back. I took that decision. For in silently, I worked for more than 3 to 6 months on the work that I am doing. Yeah, and then family was supportive, quite supportive, and then automatically things were luckily and with the hard work went well in the right direction. And then automatically that news and the PR started communicating what I am doing to the world. But when it got come to know about to my peers and the friends, there was certain backing up and third party validation. अजिंक्य कुछ मतलब ऐसे time pass नहीं कर रहा है.
Okay.
There was someone who is validating. Yes, there is something good idea. Something is happening good for the society, for the overall environment, and then automatically that best wishes and that continuous positive vibe started coming from every ecosystem aspect and started growing. While saying that, yes, challenges I have faced a good amount of challenges. I don't want to just go on the technical challenges, business and operations challenges. Maybe I can just divide in the very few aspect, right? The toughest challenge is managing my own psychology. It's one of the toughest thing because you play number of thoughts coming to come go. You have to manage. You have to probably recognize every thought process. You have to understand, and then you have to take a small amount of judgment, right? So I feel the sense of that uh, probably the managing of my own psychology was the toughest part, right? It was still that time as well. It is about right now as well because we are humans, right? We want everything at the same time, with all kind of resources, right? But it is tough, like, and I'm learning a lot. I have literally grown up in that space, where to say how we can achieve that balance, right? Second, another underappreciated skill, right? And that was not toughest challenge, but uh, is how we can take a best judgment. Because in most of the time, like at any given situation, the time probably technical challenges is there, right? How I can prop the system. So, or with a limited resources, limited knowledge, because we are in first more advantage. So with that limited resources, I always have to take a best judgment, right? Because it is judgment. Why I'm calling it is a probability judgment, because it is not about 100% I'm sure this is going to work or not. It is just about how to take a right judgment at the right time. I can automatically see what are the results, outcomes, and improve. The third major challenge that I have faced, right, uh, on the development of the technology, typically in hardware industry, the iteration cycle generally lies high, right? It is not something software or code will automatically work. It is more about we have to execute something, then if things are not going, then we have to go back, going right direction. We have to go back on the drawing table, then again to the connect with the industry. That iteration cycle, and for that, the perseverance or that continuously, that passion is very required, right? It is one of the most important aspect when you start any kind of business. Uh, but overall, if you look, I think one of the toughest challenge that I have faced is just managing my own psychology and just keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that is something I think most entrepreneurs who are starting out in a space, which is something that is not probably something different. Like the area that you are working in is, as I mentioned, like you're the first organization that has started off in the recyclings of sanitary pads. It is a new area somewhere, like there is no one else who has done any work, no amount of research that is there. There is no support system where it, like it's kind of you're starting from scratch and take it from there. I guess you become your own support system, wherein you have to at days when you're in the you're down deep, you're not feeling very good about what you're doing because things are not going in the direction you envisioned it. I think you become your own self support system, trying to pull yourself up again and keep driving yourselves. And as you mentioned, very well mentioned, that the passion is the only thing that keeps you driven at such times, because there are always days of ups and downs. And I think only when someone who's passionate about what they are doing are able to overcome all of those psychological challenges that keep coming, wherein you feel like, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I going in the right direction? What will be the next thing? Will this work out? And all of those negativities that tend to come and trouble us. But I'm very happy to, and I think I'm sure our listeners are also very happy to see, that there is someone who has gone through a similar phase that probably they might be currently going through in their journey, if they are starting off as an entrepreneur, or probably starting off in a space of career where they are still trying to figure out what to do. Okay, moving on. As uh, you told that you started off in this space because there was no solution when it came to managing menstrual waste. If you could let us know, are there any policies from the government or from the policy makers that are supportive of the business that you are doing currently? And if there are any certain expectations that you have which should add on to already the waste management rules that are currently there, which will make your work more easier, if there is anything like that.
Yeah. So basically, if you look after 2016, the sanitary waste, sanitary waste, talking about menstrual waste is categorizing depending on the source of menstrual waste. If it is coming from the household, community is considered as solid waste. So the same thing is going to come from the hospitals, nursing homes is considered as a biomedical waste. So there is a very thin line in terms of categorization of menstrual waste, right? And there are few few things like because still they are unclear because having human body fluid on it, right? So shall we consider everything is a biomedical waste? But if the biomedical waste, how are you going to handle the house waste that is getting generated from the households, right? So talking about the policy, right? India has in terms of solid waste management 2016 rules, they have already given sanitary napkins or menstrual waste can be uh, 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 there is options like landfilling is there, pit burning is there, incineration is there, right? But no one never imagined if this menstrual waste also if we can able to recycle, right? And that's why PadCare come into the system. And if you look, the PadCare Labs, or all these backers are ministries only. Uh, the first grant that what we received from Ministry of Biotechnology or Ministry of Environment and the Forest from the work that what we guys are doing. So definitely, there was always push from the central government or the state government how we can check and come up with a new systems to handle this kind of waste. But yes, we there is everything has their own journey and time because the system is new. The government has to also set up a certain standard operating process because they are not just going to develop this particular system for the PadCare Lab. They have to set up like universal the mechanisms, right? So if you on the other hand, yes, there are CPCB is something we are closely working with. The things are going to get like technology approval is in the process. Things are going in the right direction on that front. But overall, we have received some kind of certification, acknowledgement from CSIR, National Chemical Laboratory, CSIR, NEEDI, then IIPMO, different the NABL labs on the work that what we guys are.
Okay, okay. So the work is in progress, but of course, there is still more support that is required from this space, especially when you're looking to expanding to wider areas. Coming to another cause of concern, uh, there are still there communities in the country who are still struggling with, like, basic menstrual hygiene. Like, there are certain communities, certain people who still don't have complete access to proper menstrual hygiene, still struggling with how do they manage those days of the month, especially the young girls, wherein they are having to, like, drop out from school for those number of days. Like, they don't go to school because of not having access to the basic menstrual hygiene. um what do you think as an organization can you do for that population who lacks resources in this space, and if there is anything that y'all are envisioning to do in that area?
If you look right, yes, in fact, India came very far, right? If you look 10 years back, talking about menstruation is still under taboo, right? No one wants to talk about sanitary napkins as a word as well. We came very far. Whereas under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, menstrual waste, the guidelines come into the picture, then accessibility of the pads that what you can, then the the Pad Man movie got completely got released, right? The overall we came far, but if you look at it, very we want to it's very we want to go like in the long, like in terms of providing that equitable menstrual hygiene management practices for everyone. And government, if you look recently, have government also put a good amount of resources more on the awareness on the menstrual hygiene management front or different number of NGOs uh, working in this segment. Further, in terms of PadCare Labs, what we do that awareness is very one of the very crucial program for us. We start with that, and we uh, in the awareness program, we set up the booths. We try to communicate overall about women's health and menstrual hygiene, why menstrual hygiene management is required, and we try to build that. But yes, it is a small portion of our overall solution. But I'm very happy to see like hundreds of NGOs are working in this segment, and on every daily basis they are breaking the taboos and creating more awareness around menstrual hygiene management segment.
Mm, mm. Okay. um I'm sure you must, as like, the kind of services that you are providing, you are tapping right from commercial areas to offices to probably even in airports, and even envision to tap on residences. How do you plan to like, making use of collaborations and partnership uh, work, like, what kind of partnerships and collaborations are you looking for, so that it makes your accessibility to more interior parts of the country as well, and widen your geography uh, in the areas that you are already servicing? What kind of partnerships and collaborations do you need, if there are any?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a firm believer, like if you want to very good long way, want to really provide the sustainability or dignify the sanitation worker and the waste workers, the collaboration is the key. All right. And for that, already we have taken steps. If you look, there are different types of collaboration how we work. One, the front end, where we are tying with the corporates, having large human footfall, where corporates becoming our partner, or the facility managers, to those provide the access to these corporates, they are becoming partner. Second, in the residential societies is RWA, there are residential welfare associations are there, right? And the ward level as associations are there. We tie up with them. Through them, we are able to reach the individual individual housing societies and individual households. And third, with the government or local municipal corporations, where we tie up to provide this end-to-end service to them. On the back end, we get the pulp and the plastic, right? How we can able to recycle this kind of plastic, probably convert into the this kind of granules, right? So we look for the industry partners who we can work with them and can convert this into the granules or pulp. How we can convert to the probably paper like this, right? This is also made from the recycle. Like this is a sticker, but it's made from the recycle pads. So always we try to break the things, come up with the new mechanisms and the systems. Uh, and in overall picture, we work with the different events partners. There are manufacturing partners are there, then business center partners are there, operations partners are there, there are industry partners are there who are helping, and there are few strategic associations with pad manufacturing components. So yeah, I think without collaboration, things are not going to scale.
Okay. um, just a continuation of this question. Is there a possibility wherein, like, once you're done with the recycling of a sanitary napkin into cellulose and plastic, and converting that plastic into granules, is there a possibility of making use of those materials and again creating another sanitary napkin? Is there anything like that which is currently possible, or are you all wanting to tap in that area?
If you look on the technical or engineering aspect, yes, there is no boundaries, right? We can utilize this for everything anywhere. But if you look on ethics aspect as well as considering government regulation aspect, a recycled product we cannot use for the something hygiene food related aspect or having human touch. So there are certain kind of guidelines are already there in the market. Engineering technical, yes, we can manufacture, but if you look on overall perspective, end-to-end perspective, the B2B utilization of this method is more adaptable and scalable.
Okay. 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 So basically, there are no limitations to how the end products can be used, but because of the guidelines and the ethics and the safety perspective, from the health and safety perspective, it is not really recommended to make use of those recycled products into something used for hygiene. But we can use it for some other products where probably we are not coming in direct contact with that product as a living person or anything like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, it's wonderful to have this conversation to you, and we are doing really well till now. I wanted to ask you this: what do you think uh, the, is the role of education systems currently? Not just from breaking the taboo that exists around menstruation, but also imparting the right kind of knowledge from how menstrual waste should be disposed of, and how it should be segregated apart from the other kind of waste. What do you think? How can education systems contribute to this?
Yep. If you look in the education system, right, most of the women start the menstrual cycle, probably like innocently is around in between the age between 12 to 16 years old, right? Or on that period, where probably they are maybe 4 to 7 to 8 grand, where that adoption is happening. And if you do this kind of practices, generally women or students or females follow, depending on the how their mother and mom or how their family members they guide. It is more about uh, 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 they get all that knowledge from their parents, and it's very important to provide right knowledge to the students as well, right? And for that, educational system is there. And to do this, there is a joint collaboration is required. Like, and right now, PadCare also we work with the municipal corporations and the municipal VMC schools to provide this end-to-end hygiene management services. While talking about that, yes, here we have to create, like, if you want to create a three-step approach to provide a menstrual hygiene management or break the taboos around this at the education institutes, we have to create a platform where this topic can be discussed. I have no doubt the women or the female students they will now they must be having some questions, right? We generally do this kind of awareness scenarios, and we I observed that too. They always want to ask a different question, but yes, there is requirement of the trigger or platform. So that's that one platform they can communicate the talk about the menstrual waste or the menstrual hygiene and the women health is important. Second, community driven approach. It's just not about the girl, right, who's going to the school, but how we can educate their parents as well, right? How we can reach out to them and can guide, right? And how we can make this a natural phenomena open in the discussion in the household. Why should it should get high, right? I still remember right now, if I want to buy pads to my sister, the medical guy gave me the wrap and all, right? Why does require we require that, right? Let us be open because it's a natural phenomena. We have to accept it, right? And uh, then promoting of the menstrual products at that school level, right? How we can provide the menstrual products as well as proper disposal system, and that's why we are working with the education institute to solve this both problems. So I feel giving a platform to women where they were girls so they can talk, creating the community-driven approach, and going into the every parental level that we can have open discussion. And third is more about how we can make our menstrual products more accessible, as along with focusing on disposing health and hygiene. Is going to sort this issue, right? And but yeah, the government is also taking good action towards that and by providing the few pads as well as by providing uh, by providing this proper disposal mechanism as well, in particularly in the Pune Municipal Corporation that was there.
Yeah, uh, very well put across that we do need a community driven education platform wherein we are not restricting it only to the female population in the country, but we are involving both male and female in the education part, in how uh, menstruation actually impacts a woman during those days, and of course how the menstrual waste that is getting generated, how best it can be tackled, so that we are not ending up not just harming the environment, but also not harming those waste workers who are coming in direct contact of this kind of waste because of the health and safety aspects of things in this matter. um, uh, One question that I we would really like you to let us know. It's not a question; it's kind of an advice that we would love you to give to any young entrepreneurs who are starting out their journey in the startup space. No matter that whether it is the social, not just social entrepreneurship, but in general, anyone starting out, what would be that one advice that you would like to give them?
I feel I'm also still young, right, to give this kind of advices because I'm also learning a lot in day-to-day activities as well as in my journey, right? It's been just 5 years, right? But yes, I have good amount of focus. So I feel like I think not one advice, but there are a couple of things that work well. It's not kind of advice, but the things like aligning, like I was very clear what is my purpose of life or what is my passion, right? And then align that with work. It is very important because you cannot leave your 9 to 6 job to work 24 hours, right? Unless and until your passion is aligned. And if you start doing the so, but it is not going to be long, right? It is very important to understand your understanding aligns with your passion and purpose. Second is not short-term phenomenon. You cannot. This is a marathon, right? It is not a 100-meter super fast sprint, or it is a kind of what I can it's kind of relay or probably that the game where you have to be there that is required. Then third aspect also in my case that really worked where I was very open to say get a mentorship and corrective feedback.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? That is very important aspect because as a early entrepreneurs, we generally think that my idea is someone is going to stall, he will become a billionaire. It's not like that. Probably the same ideas are running more than the same in mind of more than 1,000 people. The who wins is to take a get a proper guidance, who validate the idea, who discuss openly with a couple of partners, and then generally take it. And then yes, you have to embrace failure. There's no other option. You cannot go to always win. Probably after 5 years, you're seeing PadCare Labs come into the Shark Tank and Ajinkya is kind of like I have more than probably just 1% that put your link good happy things, right? That is in the public domain. But what about 99% where we have to do the daily hustle, daily face a different kind of challenges? So you have to embrace and the kind of failure, right? And be adaptable. And the another because adaptability worked well for me because my business model got pivoted, my technology got a little bit pivoted, and that adaptability is very important. And last one, how I can get this knowledge? How can I can just keep that hunger, right? The power of imagination you, how I can maintain that, and that is where I observe in my case, uh, the books really played a good role, right? And that I typically try to read a good number of amount of books every year. Yeah, these are the few things that work really well for me.
Mhm. Okay. So I guess it would be safe to summarize to say that basically anyone starting out to in a startup first of all has to be passionate of the area that they are looking to work in, and of course be open to adaptability and pivoting at the right time when the need is required. Not be closed to getting mentorship, like not have unrealistic expectations, but be open to suggestions and guidance from the right kind of people, and of course accessing the right kind of knowledge, as in your case you said books. Wonderful. We are almost to the end of our conversation today. Would it be okay to take one or two questions from the audience?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is this one question that has come that asks that in case if a citizen wishes to get involved in the work that PadCare is doing, what would be the best way that they can get involved, right? Like, contribute in a positive way to the work that you are doing.
So for this, right, post Shark Tank, right, we receive probably lakhs of some similar kind of like where the communities or someone individual want to support in our cause. There was not any kind of expectation. So PadCare has a great kind of advocacy kind of program, right? and
Okay.
and how you can support is very clear. Probably, take example, if you want seeing here, this system is probably is required in hotel or probably airport or probably metro station or the bus station. You can just advise, hey, hi, this is the kind of company you can onboard her. That recommendation, that advocacy generally.
Hmm.
Second, if you really want to go deep dive on in terms of execution, you can be a part of that kind of advocate for that particular probably ward, right? That world level programs or something you can conduct in your environment, and you can be even part of lead, right, while implementing mental hygiene management system in your own community or housing society, probably at your corporate as well. You can become our brand ambassador, right? So these are the two ways right now we are working. and openly, yes, I think that continuous small message as well, right? Okay, yeah, you guys are doing awesome things. And that is also, when I share with my team, right? That they feel, yes, this is something what we are doing is creating really impact, right? Yeah. And just to give a example, because this is seen in my back screen, right? So we have, so this is like recently we launched a mascot. This mascot is Ekta Didi, right? So the mascot is all about a sanitation worker who is working at a PadCare Labs. We have trained her, we have dignified her, and surprisingly, she is able to manage our entire factory by alone, right? That is the power of training. That is the power of like probably collaboration. That is the power of innovation, right? How we can become more equitable. So yeah, these are a few stuff how we work on the community and within bookshelves.
Okay. There's one more question. Um, Currently your major area of work is in the sanitary napkin space. Is there any thing that you envision wherein you wish to expand your services to even include the other kind of medical waste, like as you mentioned in the start, like the biomedical hospital waste, which is contaminated with blood? Do you have something that you envision to expand your services in that space as well?
So right now, if you look, our focus is clear, is on menstrual hygiene management and the maximum extending that technology to the diapers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the so any material having pulp and the plastic. So our technology can be utilized for the sanitary napkins, for the diapers, for the tetra packs, for the textile waste as well. But yes, we have not. Yes, we are open. Our eyes are open. We are exploring biomedical waste, but right now it is more about sanitary. And that's all.
Okay, okay. And that even includes tampons as well, right?
Everything, everything.
Everything, everything. Okay. What about only cloth pads? Even that
A
can be
cloth,
recycled?
yes, yes, cloth pads can be recycled as well in the same case.
Okay, okay. Okay, Ajinkya, I think we are at the end of the session today. Before we end, is there any take back message that you would like to give to our viewers? Something that they can take back from the work that you are doing and something that they should hold on to for life?
I feel right. I think we never acknowledge the efforts of our kachra sevak or sanitation workers they do right in our life, right? And probably you have seen during COVID as well, they never stop work. They were able to, they were on the ground, they are collecting. And I always have very like a very soft corner for them because one kachra sevak or the sanitation worker generally if you look, his count per footstep is more than minimum 7 to 8 to 10 kilometers in a day. He has to carry all this waste to manage this entire supply chain. I feel if that one, like not with a directly pad care lab, but one, if you are able to segregate your work at source and handle in correct way, that is going to ease them out. If you are just providing was saying hi to them in the morning and sending a smile, that is something going to boost their entire day. These are the small actions that can really change or bring a more uh, can entire change your lives because the dignifying the sanitation work is also very crucial. And I feel like if you can just look around, your one smile to them, it is something that is something they want, right? And being frankly, or when I interact with dignifying the waste pickers, sanitation workers, it is not something money that is money is very important for them, but सबसे important है वो respect, that is acknowledgement of their work, right? Because in India, kachra waste sevak is not job still. It is the kind of unorganized segment. It is not identified role,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so I think you can just like if you're seeing any kachra sevak nearby to you, just smile and say hi and just appreciate her or him to about her work that he's doing.
Yeah. Very well said, Ajinkya. This is something that, like, in one of our previous conversations, even if you know about her, Nalini Shekhar, who is the founder of Hasirudala, also mentioned that just because we are not considering them like as an organized sector or considering them as a marginalized community does not mean that we don't treat them as fellow human beings, because somewhere ideally their role is uh, a very important role that they play in our society of not just maintaining our surroundings clean but contributing to the health and wellness of each and every one of us. And of course, on the other side, helping maintain the resources that we keep consuming from the environment and retrieving them and bringing them back into our supply chain so that we don't end up uh, causing more scarcity in this space. Wonderful. Thank you once again, Ajinkya, for sharing your expertise and your passion with us today. Your courage and dedication to improve the menstrual hygiene standards and waste management is truly inspiring, and we are very grateful for your contribution to a sustainable future. And for you, wonderful viewers, thank you for joining us today through this thought provoking conversation. Few things to remember. First, remember to segregate your menstrual waste apart from your dry waste and wet waste and dispose it off mindfully. Secondly, avoid flushing down your sanitary napkins, tampons, or any kind of menstrual waste down the drain because they clog our drains and that is not helping anyone. And thirdly, if possible, choose more sustainable alternatives so that we reduce our dependency on plastic and are able to stay safe and stay healthy. Continue being with us for our future episodes and follow us on our social media channels for further messages. Thank you.